Hello, my loves. Welcome to another episode of the SJ podcast. So, today we're going to be talking about how we need to stop romanticizing self love and self care. Everything I'm about to say here is absolutely my opinion. You are more than welcome to share your opinion on this topic down below in the description box. So, I feel like we have made these two things seem easy or seem like they are nice things to do, and we don't really get to the hard stuff or the hard things when it comes to self-love and self-care. And that is exactly what we are going to be getting more into in this episode. So, you guys, this is just something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I've come to realize that self care does not really end in us taking a shower, doing our skincare, and drinking our lemon water. And that is something we have made self care to seem like. But I feel like, as much as those things are part of us taking care of ourselves, we don't really get to talk about the other side of self-care. And I want us to talk about self-care holistically and not just certain parts of self-care. So I want us to talk about the parts of self-care and self-love where you have to go inside parts of yourself you are not really willing to go into, parts of yourself that you may be running away from, but because you are learning to love and care for yourself, you now have to go inside and confront those parts of you and how difficult that thing or that process can really be. I truly believe that when you decide to journey into self love and self care, there's a lot of patience required, there's a lot of self forgiveness required, and that forgiveness will require you to go back into your life and find things that you may have buried and confront those things for you to truly let go and just forgive yourself. So, speaking about forgiveness, I don't think this forgiveness is only confined to self forgiveness, né? But there are certain people in your life you will find yourself having to forgive, not because they deserve your forgiveness, but because you deserve to be set free. There are also situations in your life you will have to go back into and confront so as for you to be fully able to embark on this journey of self-love and self-care. Thinking about forgiveness and having to go back into certain situations of your life, this process will require a lot of patience. You're gonna have to be very patient with yourself because there's now gonna be a lot of emotions coming to the surface, and you might not necessarily know how to deal with all of these emotions all at once, and that is okay. You need to take all the time you need for you to be able to process those emotions, allow them to come through you, to go through you, allow yourself to sit in those emotions and feel whatever it is you need to feel at that time. Another part I feel like makes up self-care and self-love is getting out of your comfort zone, letting certain people go and creating boundaries. Do you guys know how hard it is to be stripped off of something or even people you are familiar with, and you being introduced to a totally new world or a version of yourself? That is self-care. Self-care is not as easy as we make it seem to be. I know it's very much easy to make up quotes and captions about self-care and self-love, but we don't talk about how much self-care is about us dealing with our own darkness, our own toxicities. We don't really talk about the parts where we have to admit that we also have toxic traits, and it's not always about the next person, and that requires a lot of courage. Going inside yourself and dealing with your own demons requires courage, patience, and everything we don't really get to talk about on social media or just in conversations we get to have with the people around us. I really feel like we need to stop romanticizing these two things, which is self-love and self-care, and we really need to start showing them for what they really are. We need to also show the side of pain, frustration, confusion, the hard times, and not only these sides of sunshines and rainbows. Now, trust me, there really is nothing wrong with the pampering part of self-care or self-love. I mean, that is your bubble baths, your meditations, your skincare. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. That is also care. That's also self-love. You guys know I do these things. If you watch my vlogs, then you very much know that I do take days or an hour of my day where I just focus on self-care, and I do these things I've just mentioned above. But I just wanted us to talk about the more deeper side of self-care that we don't really get to have conversations about, you know. So yeah, so you guys, let's talk about instant gratification. And if there's one thing I know about this generation, or my generation, or our generation, is that we are a generation of instant gratification. And self-love, I feel like, is really about skipping instant gratification and just doing things, or focusing on doing things that are going to benefit us in the long run. I feel like we need to come to terms with is that self-love or self-care is also about breaking habits, breaking old habits and forming new ones. And that can be very much difficult, because you are now being stripped of, or you are letting go of things that made up most of your days, things you are used to. And again, I'm saying, do you guys realize how hard it is to be stripped of things that you are familiar with, and just being introduced to this new world or new version of yourself? So, guys, I want us to come to terms with this side of self care, because I feel like we get into this journey expecting it to be a smooth ride, and we get so discouraged and disappointed when we come to learn about the amount of work, the amount of consistency, the amount of discipline, of patience and courage that goes into us loving and caring and just deciding to put ourselves first. To close off this episode, you guys, for me, self care is a process of taking a conscious decision and making a conscious effort every day, and doing things every day that will bring me closer to who I want to be in the future. So, what is self care to you? Please comment down below, and let's just have that beautiful conversation about self care and self love. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next episode of the SJ podcast. Bye.